Today on B-RAD DIY, I'm going to be putting together a Buddy Burner, a very simple wax fuel stove that you can make with just things that are just laying around your house. What we have here is a coil of cardboard inside a tuna fish can or cat food can or old sterno can, probably a bunch of different can options. And the fuel is just an old candle. That's a worn out old candle. Or paraffin that you could buy at so many locations, big box stores. What's great about the Buddy Burner is they're cheap, they give off a good amount of heat, they're portable and compact, very easy to make, and my favorite thing, you can light this and get a fire going in the rain, which if you're trying to get wet wood burning would be a great way to get a fire started to get your wood hot enough to dry out and burn. In this area where I live, we get a lot of hurricanes and tropical systems. We lose power pretty often, and whenever there's a threat for a storm, the first thing that happens is people run to the stores and buy all the propane and all the charcoal and the firewood, and leaving very little cooking fuel for other folks. So this is another option if that situation happens and there's nothing else on the shelf that I can use to cook with. This will be there. Folks won't run and grab paraffin or old candles off the shelf. So to make this, which is a completed Buddy Burner, I'm going to need a empty tuna fish can of some kind. Fluted cardboard works really well. However, if you don't have a fluted cardboard, if you can find newspaper and roll it up, it will work as a wick as well. I've taken some cardboard and I've cut it to the length that I'm going to need, both height and length. And for me, it was just a trial and error thing. I'm going to use an old sterno can. Actually, what I used when I was making my first tin can video. I'm just going to reuse it for this. Fuel, I've got this old candle which was in an outdoor garden lantern that I never really used, so I'm going to use it for this. But like I said earlier, you could get this paraffin wax from numerous stores, very available, not very expensive. So I'm going to take this old soup can and put it on my hot plate and let it run for, it's going to take a while to melt down this wax. Let it run for a while on my hot plate outside of the YouTube studio here. Then I'll have some hot liquid wax or paraffin that I can then pour over the cardboard that's going to be coiled up inside the can. So I cut that big candle in half and tossed it in this soup can. It's on my hot plate. Got my hot plate on high. This will probably take about 20 minutes for it to melt all the way down. Got my melted wax here from that candle. It's hot and liquidy, so I'm going to pour it in. I'm just going to fill her up. That'll be enough. That's going to take a while to cool. Hell, it took 45 minutes just to get all that wax melted. What I'm going to do next after it cools, and it'll probably be 2 hours, maybe 3 hours before it fully cools. And then I'm going to light it on fire and see how long it takes to boil 2 cups of water. And then I'm going to see how long it takes to completely burn off all the paraffin until the flame goes out. Let's see how do a little burn time measurement. And I've got enough wax left over. I could do another one with this candle or just use this candle some other way. And in the can, I've got what's left of the wick and enough wax to make one more. So out of that one candle, I can make 3 of these. So this took a little while to light, a few minutes. but it is going good enough, I think, to try to boil some water. Drop the tin can stove on, pot, some water, start the timer, and let her run for a few minutes. I'm guessing, I hope to be boiling under 10 minutes, 2 cups of water. I did cover this pot with dish soap because these are notorious for putting off a lot of soot, these paraffin stoves. And so by putting the dish soap around it, hopefully cleaning this off. So a little bit about the 9-minute mark, we started to get a pretty good boil. About the 8-minute mark, we had a simmer. I'm pretty happy with that. That's not bad, run enough wax. It's pretty smoky though. This isn't something that I'm going to use inside my house, nor I'm going to use a pot or pan without a lid on it, just because the amount of soot. This is more like a last resort, I think, to get. I've moved this over to my grill. I'm just going to let this run and see how long it lasts. Out of the alcohol stove, the sterno stove, and the rocket stove, I know this is going to last much longer. I'm hoping to get an hour. It'd be nice to see an hour and a half out of this. Fizzling down, hour and a half to get to this point. So I started somewhere around 5:18, and it's nearly 7 o'clock right now. That's pretty good. One thing I've learned, you could take a chunk of wax, put it on the flames right there, it'll melt and start to burn off and re-energize the cooker, and you could keep going. I'm pretty happy with this. I love the Buddy Buner. It's going to be great for emergencies, and that's probably all I'll use it for.